Hello, 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 hello. I am John Beckman, Professor John Beckman, Dr. John Beckman, the father of Sid, the transgenic mother of sin, the smartest artist in Alabama. I had a new idea, two new ideas. One is it would be really fun, since I love critique so much from scientific illustration and my art degree. It would be super fun to critique super famous masterpiece paintings under my artist's eye. And then I thought after I critiqued super famous masterpieces, it would be really fun as an artist to try to fight the piece. So like try to paint a painting in the same style of the master artist, and then essentially like fight them and see if you can make one that's better than the masterpiece. I really like that idea. I'm gonna try that. I thought about like, okay, if I'm actually gonna do this, if I'm actually gonna try to paint a painting to fight the masterpieces, I gotta be very careful about which ones I pick starting off, because if I pick something massive, obviously like it's just gonna take forever. So I have to do something that's smaller. And I have to also start simple. So I have to start with something that I think I can actually beat. Like I think I could beat it. So we're gonna go with the girl with the pearl earring, Vermeer's Girl with the Pearl Earring. So before I get my plan of how I'm gonna beat it, I'm gonna beat this painting, or at least how I'm gonna fight it. Maybe I won't beat it, maybe I will. But before I do that, I wanna critique it, and I wanna look at it for a while, talk about it, give you my artist thoughts on that piece. And develop a strategic plan for how I'm gonna beat it. Oh, don't tell me you're running out of gas now. You gotta be kidding me. Running out of gas. Oh, I'll be back. Hey, what's up? What?
He's doing on the half of the cow.
Have you half the trail? Nice. May your Zippo letters always be full. So obviously I chose this one because it's a simpler masterpiece, right? Very simple. I also chose this piece because there's not much of the sfumato technique. So if you zoom in, there's a little bit of like superb blending on the face, but up here, and especially in the textile parts, it's not blended that smoothly. So it's something I feel confident I can do with acrylic. I haven't yet busted into oils, so I don't have much experience painting with oils. So I think I can do this with acrylic. I'm just looking at it. I mean, you can even see, like, you can see the brush strokes. He did a glaze of this blue over top. You can see the brush strokes. So I feel pretty confident I can do this. Or at least beat this, something like it. Like I can do this technique. So I don't want to just copy it, right? I want to do something. I want to do something that in theory could beat it. So I have to try to understand the intention of the artist. Clearly, okay, so the woman's beautiful. So it's a good looking woman, young woman. And this portrait is all about the face and the expression. You can tell that it's entirely about the face because the textiles have no embellishments. So if you look at, like, I'm just thinking like paintings of Henry VIII as an example. Like if you look at paintings of Henry VIII, like look at this. Like clearly like the textiles are part of the piece. The complexity of the textiles is probably even harder to do, harder to capture than the face, to be honest. There's actually, I can't remember in the Aldous Huxley's, I think it's called The Doors of Reality or Doors of Perception. It's a short story. He talks about taking mescaline, and he talks about all of art history. All of art history can entirely be essentially like summarized as paintings of textiles, because if you look at many paintings, again, the most complex parts are often like this. And when he was high on mescaline, he would remember staring at the folds of his pants and being mesmerized by the complexity of the textile. So much of art history is painting of textiles. Fortunately, my point is, fortunately here, I don't have to worry about that here. I don't have to worry about that here. And the artist specifically, I would imagine the artist actually like decided not to do something super complicated because he wanted the focus to be the face. Look at the background. The background is like entirely black. Again, nothing in the background. It's not like a still life. He wants the focus entirely on the face, nothing distracting from the eyes. And that's because he wants you to take in the expression of this woman. So just so you know, I know nothing about Vermeer and I know nothing about art history. Well, I know a little bit about art history. I'm talking about this from the perspective of an artist. The decisions I think he made. So in order to compete with this piece, it needs to be a portrait focused on expression. Like you need to be capturing some kind of an expression, right? So then the next question is, what is the expression on the woman's face? And it depends, like you're going to think about it differently if you're a woman or a man, I would imagine. So let's go through the expressions. Is she afraid? No, she's clearly not afraid. Is she excited? No, she's not excited. Is she interested? Yes. I think that's a good word to say. She's clearly interested. What is she looking at? What is she interested in? She's interested in me because I'm looking at the painting. I'm looking at her. The person who commissioned this piece, I don't know, is probably, it's very sexually suggestive. A man obviously probably commissioned this piece as something to get him excited. I should check the art history and see if that's true. 1665. Let's zoom in. You can see her teeth. Obviously it makes me think of that expression, that famous lip expression. How do I get it? Lip expression. That's not a good image of it though. You see a lot of these, lots of people do this. That's what it makes me think of. So the fact that her mouth is open, it's sexually suggestive. So the only embellishment clearly is the pearl earring, which is why it's been colloquially named the girl with the pearl earring. So it's counter to what I usually teach in scientific illustration. I usually teach that if you're trying to capture an organism, you should try to capture like the essence of that organism. And so it's almost like cartooning in a sense of when you cartoon, you pick out the features that really make that thing, that are the essence of that thing, and you enhance them. And so, for example, like if you're looking at something like ornate, like an ornate beer stein, you're capturing, if you want to capture that, all those little details are the essence of capturing your beer stein. Or if you're looking at like a cigar, all the ornate little details in the label are really the essence of the cigar. And if you were to do a painting of a cigar, without capturing the ornate details, it wouldn't truly embody what it is to be a cigar, because you're leaving out the most important things. So again, like the label is actually the most important part of the cigar, if you're ever going to paint it. So this painting is kind of like opposite of what I teach, in that there's nothing enhancing this woman except the pearl. And that's why I say it's the painting is entirely focused on the face, the expression. That's what he's trying to do. So how do you beat this? How do you beat this? It's so timeless. It's tough. How do you beat this? The girl is obviously pure. So like one thing I originally thought was I have a crush on Billie Eilish. So one of the things I thought was, okay, to beat it, I'll paint Billie Eilish with a face tattoo, and it'll be called Billie Eilish with a face tattoo. And then I thought about that more and more and more. And I think that's exactly what I'm saying about like enhance the details. If you're painting a scar, enhance the details. Paint the most intricate, ornate things. The face tattoo and using Billie Eilish would be like enhancing it. But I think that's opposite of what he's trying to do, right? And I think that it's opposite of the aesthetic here, because the aesthetic is like a pure, almost like it's like a virgin aesthetic, right? It's like the pure virgin who's interested. It's the pure virgin who's interested in you. That's why this painting is so compelling. She's trying to like sneak a look, sneak an eye contact with somebody she likes as a subtle hint. That's why this painting is so compelling. It's so well loved. So back to the thought, you can't beat it with Billie Eilish, because Billie Eilish is not considered a pure virgin. So I think that would be the wrong tone. It's kind of like, it's like the girl next door, right? So it's hard to beat, but keep the aesthetic. How do you beat it? Maybe like a sexy tomboy. It's actually not a bad idea. So you paint a cute tomboy with the same look. I like that idea. How else could you beat it? Like, this is hard. Again, if I really want to beat this, the painting is one part of it, but the other part is like, what's the idea? What's the idea that's going to beat it? And you get one thing to choose that enhances the picture. Like the earring. And I originally thought the face tattoo. But I was like, the girl with the face tattoo. I still would like to paint that. But the face tattoo is like, you would be signaling severe like cultural deviance. And that is not the aesthetic of this painting at all. So you can't be painting a deviant. And you get one thing. This is a painting that's meant to be stared at. It's a painting that's meant to be, you look into her eyes. That's what it's meant for. Tomboy in a kimono. That would be good. I think that would be defeating the purpose though. But you could take away an earring. A nose ring would be cool. Or the Indians with the dot, that would be cool. Again, just trying to think of things you could do to beat it. Yeah, so Wikipedia is saying that the purpose of the painting is exaggerating facial expressions. So I was right about that. That's why they're not, is not elaborating anything else. It's not a portrait. Well, I don't know. The thing about portraiture is when you do a portrait, there's not very many good portrait artists anymore. When you do a portrait, you have to embody and capture the personality of that person in the painting. So you should be able to look at that person and know about that person's personality from the painting. I think Otto Dix is the best portrait artist. And in this sense, in this sense, I wouldn't like to call it a portrait because you're assuming then the entire personality of this girl is that she's interested. I think that would be a misogynistic way to look at the painting. But what I mean by that is I don't think it's not the style of this painting is not a portrait, and that's what Wikipedia is suggesting. Wikipedia is saying it's a different style of painting. It's not a portrait. It's just designed to capture facial expression. And I guess for you to have a real portrait, you need to be. I like the tomboy idea. So we'll do well, the question is, what's the piece of jewelry? What do I get to? Maybe tomboy with a bandana. That would be good. I like this painting. All right. I'm not going to give away yet what I thought of that I'm going to paint, but I got a canvas. I'm going to fight this painting. So look forward to the next installment. Oh, this one's going to be hard. I'm not a photorealistic painter. That's the thing. I'm not into photorealism. Ever since like in my time when you can just take a picture of people, it's like photorealism is less appealing, I think, than it would have been in 16th, 17th century. In the 17th century, it would have been like baffling. You would go to the museum or you'd go to wherever this was hanging, you'd be like, wow. You know, how often did you get to look at a girl who was interested in you? Probably not that often. So this is probably like mind-blowing in the 17th century to see something like this for the average person. And anyway, like that's why I don't do too much photorealism. I don't have much practice in it. I think I can do it if I have to do it. And I think that would be a good test. Prove to everybody, like that was the thing with Picasso. Picasso could do photorealism. And if you're only looking at Picasso's abstract art, you're not really seeing the full range of what Picasso could do. And Picasso's whole point was like, I choose to paint this way. Look at everything I can do. I choose to paint this way because it's more interesting. So this will be a good test. This will be fun. All right. Have a good day.